Hey, Lee Charles, welcome back. Today's training is all about taking charge of your yoga studio. So the question I have for you is this: who is really in charge of your studio? I mean, is it the students? Is it the instructors? Is it the staff? Or is it you? Are you really in charge and in control of your yoga business? And here's what I mean by this. This is a very, very important point and something that must be brought home to you as a yoga studio owner. You see, it's very important that the asylum, as we like to call it, is not being run by the inmates. In other words, your students should not be running your yoga studio. Your instructors should not be running the yoga studio. Your staff should not be running your yoga studio. It's you. You make up the rules, you dictate the terms, and you play the game on your terms. Here's what I mean. The chances are you're the person that put the name on the lease. You're the person that's invested tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars in this studio to get it to where it is right now. So in other words, the way you run your studio is for it to make profit. Now, if you're not in the yoga business to make profit, you're actually not in the yoga business. You do yoga for fun. That's good, and I actually recommend you get out of teaching completely and you just go take class with somebody who's probably in the yoga business. Because unless you're a gazillionaire, you'll be unlikely to sustain the level of service needed in order to run a real, true, great value, great yoga studio. So back to my point. My point is this: who is really in charge? You see, once you decide that you're in charge of your business, you'll no longer be bothered by these irate customers. Quite simply, you will, well, fire them. I've done it before and I will do it again. If I have an unruly customer or an unruly staff member or an unruly instructor that's not compliant to my request, doesn't abide by our protocol in the studio, then quite simply, I fire them. Have I refunded students' memberships? Well, on occasions, when it's necessary. But here's what generally happens. When people get a feel or an understanding that you're in control, that it's your studio and you own the business, then they become compliant. Listen, people come to yoga for all sorts of reasons: their health, their benefits, their physical fitness, to meet new friends, great social activity. Whatever their reasons are, they are. However, you run a yoga business to make profit. So you must ensure you're giving great service, great customer service. And great customer service isn't about bending over. It's about giving them clear, precise direction and being consistent with your level of service. That's exactly how you should run your yoga business. So remember, folks, it's you that are in charge of your yoga business. And do not be afraid to, on occasion, stamp your feet, clap your hands, do whatever is necessary to make sure that you maintain in control. Because let me give you an example. There's going to be a time in your yoga business career that you may need to make changes. It may be the class schedule, it may be the length of time of classes. And believe me, whenever you make a change, even if it's for the better, you will have some students complain. Now, I'm not saying your students complain, or moan, or bitch and moan, or do whatever they do in the changing rooms or in between classes in your lobby area. But here's what happens. There's normally an odd 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 students out there of your possible hundreds that you have that can cause issues in your academy. And it's real easy. If you have an apple tree and you have a few bad apples, you cut them off. You cut them down. You may even cut the branch if you have to, in order to maintain the greater good of the whole tree. Well, that's exactly the way you should be running your yoga business. You're in charge and you do everything for the greater good of your yoga studio. All of it, all the students. It's called collateral damage. Sometimes one has to go or 2 has to go because you're making changes for the better. And let me talk about changes for a second. You see, just before you dismiss the idea of changing something, you have to think about this. The definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again and actually expect to get a different result. You with me? So if you're running your studio this way and you need to make changes, then you have to make the changes for the greater good of the academy and the studio. Otherwise, quite frankly, well, it's probably going to shut down. And that's what will benefit nobody, including yourself. So be aware that you are in control of your yoga studio, and you alone must make and give clear direction and be sure that you are in charge of your yoga business. And again, for more help, direction of exactly what to do and how you should, and how you can handle disgruntled customers, how to handle instructors and staff and train them appropriately and keep them on track and manage their ability to run a fantastic yoga studio, then obviously check out our Yoga Business Explained program. It's all from me, Lee Charles, the Yoga Success Guy, looking forward to working with you very, very shortly. We'll see you on the next training.